Since the implementation of federalism, the federal government has handed over hundreds of drinking water projects to the provincial levels and disbursed billions every year in an effort to ensure that the public have access to safe drinking water. However, despite the lapse of over 5 years, more than half the population are still deprived of the same. To make matters worse, water resources are drying up as the direct consequence of climate change, which has compelled people in the eastern hilly regions to leave their ancestral homes and settle elsewhere. Good evening, I'm Sarah Chitrakar, and these are the headlines of the hour. CPN Mao Centre's Central Committee meeting endorses amendment to the party statute, raising the number of Central Committee members to 409. Proposal floated for statute convention. The implementation of government's decision to ban the use of plastic bags remain feeble. Consumption in Kathmandu Valley alone stands at 5 million units per day. Plastic bags worth 10 billion rupees consumed annually. Workers of tea industry wage a protest demanding their employers maintain the minimum wage set by the laws. Almost 70,000 workers deprived of minimum facilities. And Jamaica makes a history by becoming the first Caribbean nation to enter into the knockout stage of Women's World Cup. Brazil and Italy's journey ends. South Africa and Sweden also through to the last 16. The Central Committee meeting of Mao Centre has begun in the capital from today. This comes after a gap of 13 months, and the meeting is dwelling on the political and organizational report presented by Party Chair and Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal. Discussions began on the report even before the members are to get their hands on it. 18 members of the Central Committee presented their opinion on the report at the meeting today. Addressing the meeting, Dahal had called for a restructuring of the party's operational ways, saying that it was the need for the hour. He also called on Central Committee members to show some considerations to any lapses by the government, which it is a part of. Premier Dahal defended the government's performance and said that the Socialist Front was formed with parties having similar ideology. On the first day of the 5-day Central Committee meeting, the proposed amendment to the party's statute was endorsed, based on which the Central Committee has been expanded to 409 members, with the provision of 50% of them to be alternative members. Participants Himal Sharma, Krishna Kesi, Ram Kumari Chaudhary, among others, said the party committee lacked a proper shape and suggested to hold the General Convention to make the party more active. The Central Committee meeting is being attended by 758 participants, including 385 Central Committee members, 198 alternative members, 100 office bearers from provincial committees and 75 from various commissions. The Central Committee meeting is expected to finalize allocation of responsibilities among leaders, announce a 3-month campaign to expand its institutions, and dwell on the General Convention and the performance of the government. The meeting will resume tomorrow. Meanwhile, CPN-UML Chair KP Sharma Oli has alleged that the government itself was involved in gold smuggling. Speaking at a program today, Oli said the government did not want a fair investigation into the recent gold scandal.
सरकार सञ्चालन भरपर्दो भएन तपाईहरुले भन्सार नियन्त्रण पनि गर्न सक्नु भएन चेक्न सक्नु भएन त्यहाँ चोरी निकासी चोरी पैठारी हुँदा त्यत्रो सुना हुँदा तपाईहरुले देख्नु भएन अनि तपाईहरुबाट के छानबिन हुन्छ तपाईहरुले छानबिन गर्न रोक्या होइन तपाईहरु छानबिन गर्नुस् तर अर्को निष्पक्ष छानबिन त्यस्तो आयोग बनाऊ जसले छानबिन
Oli also questioned Nepali Congress's silence in the matter and added that CPN-UML had implemented the Mission 084 campaign to protect the nation's interest. Workers of tea industry have waged a protest demanding their employers maintain the minimum wage set by the Labour Act 2074. They have also heavily criticized the government for failing to implement the laws. Around 70,000 daily wage workers have been deprived of minimum wages and facilities as per the existing laws, as their employers are not registered. 60-year-old Chinta Devi Rajbangsi, who was a permanent staff at the Budkaran Tea State in Jhapa had retired from her job 2 years ago based on age limit. However, she has yet to receive the Provident Fund and gratuity that totals to 119,000 rupees. Despite retirement, she has been compelled to continue working as a daily wage worker to run her household. Tea workers, including Rajbangshi, since 17th of July have been waging protest against their employers, demanding for pay raise and social security scheme based on contributions, among others. The state's Labour Act 2074 provisions for salary raise in every 2 years. Many workers say their salaries have not been revised for the 4th year now. Several rounds of discussions have been held between real estate businesses and the workers. However, an agreement has not been reached yet. Workers say employers must raise at least 90 rupees in their per-day wages, while businesses say they are unable to go beyond a 30 rupees raise. Meanwhile, government has said it is unable to intervene as of yet, as many companies are not registered as employers. The National Planning Commission has approved of the concept paper for the 16th Periodic Plan. The meeting of the Commission held today approved of the concept paper that aims to ensure social justice, good governance and prosperity. The prosperous Nepal goal of the 15th plan, which failed to materialize, has also been included this time. The Commission has said detailed plans will incorporate steps the country will need to take as it prepares to graduate from its least developed country status. The 16th plan aims at ensuring good governance in political, administrative and legal mechanisms and social justice in health, education and employment, among others. The Commission will begin deliberations on the agendas, ministries and areas of work from tomorrow. The government's 16th periodic plan has prioritized raising production capacity and general employment opportunities. The government, in a bid to control environment pollution, announced of imposing a ban on plastic bags in the Nepalese year 2071. In the year 2068 BS, the government had issued plastic bag directives for the first time and prepared a work plan in 2078. However, the implementation of the plan has remained feeble. The Kathmandu metropolis in the Nepalese fiscal year 2076-77 had announced of making the country's capital plastic-free within a year, which has yet to materialize. 4 years since then, the metropolis has once again announced of prohibiting the use of plastics of less than 40 micron and has begun monitoring for the same. The government policy of creating awareness regarding harmful effects of plastic bags on environment and people's health and encouraging the general public to use environment-friendly bags has remained ineffective. As per the Environment Conservation Act, a fine of up to 50,000 rupees can be imposed on those involved in the sales and consumption of plastic bags that have been banned. There is no clear data on the use of plastic bags. However, currently there are 140 manufacturing companies that produce plastic bags. In addition to locally produced ones, plastic bags are imported from abroad as well. The Plastic Manufacturers Association says plastic bags worth around 10 billion rupees is traded on an annual basis. Around 5 million units of plastic bags are consumed in Kathmandu Valley alone on a daily basis. A study by the Kathmandu metropolis also shows that just around 75% of the waste from the valley are biodegradable. The highest in the remaining non-degradable waste, which is 6.5%, are plastic products, 3.8% of which is plastic bags. It takes 100 to 200 years for a plastic bag to completely break down. The United Nations has anticipated there will be more plastics waste in the ocean than fish due to the pollution generated by around 500 billion plastic bags. Environmental organizations say that around 500 million plastic bags are produced across the globe annually, while 1 billion bags are used within every minute. Around 9% of plastic that have been produced are recycled, 12% burned, and the remaining 79% are dumped. The oceans are the most polluted by plastic waste. According to the United Nations Environmental Program, UNEP, 1 truck of plastic waste is dumped in oceans within every minute. UNEP says it if this continues, that the oceans will have more plastic waste than marine animals by 2050. Around 100,000 aquatic animals die due to plastic waste annually. The UN predicts that around 80% of plastic waste can be reduced by 2040. 129 countries have imposed partial or complete ban on the use of plastic. Meanwhile, according to a study conducted by researchers, plastic and microplastic have been found in 38 lakes of Australia, the USA, the UK and Europe. In our Public Voice segment, today we have asked in several provinces what should be done to stop the use of plastic bags that are detrimental to the environment. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
प्लास्टिक उत्पादन हुनु भएन पहिलो कुरो त
यसलाई सिस्टममा ल्याएर सरकारले नै बन्द गराए चाहिँ राम्रो हुन्थ्यो
युज गर्न बन्द गर्नुपर्छ भने जनचेतना फैलाउनु पर्छ अनि मात्रै बन्द हुन्छ
कागजको होला पहिला हामी ठोंगा बनाएर बेच्थे ठोंगामा सामान लिएर आउँथे त्यो चलन ल्याउनु पर्यो
जनचेतना फैलाउनु पर्यो
वैकल्पिकमा चाहिँ अरु ब्यागहरु चाहिँ युज गर्नको लागि चाहिँ यहाँ के रे प्रचार प्रसार गर्ने
प्लास्टिकको विकल्पमा त धेरै यस्तो कुरो छ कपडाको युज गर्न सकिन्छ
नगरपालिकाहरूले सर्वप्रथम त प्लास्टिक जन्य वस्तुलाई नै ब्यान्डै गर्नुपर्छ
कागजको प्याकिङ गराएर दिँदाखेरि अझ राम्रो होला
दोकानमा छापा मारेर यसलाई बिल्कुल बन्द गरिदिन पर्छ
सामान लिन जाँदाखेरि आफ्नै घरबाट कपडाको झोला फाइबरको झोलाहरू लिएर जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ प्लास्टिक जन्ने झोलाहरूलाई त न्यूनीकरण गर्न सकिन्छ
पहिला त उपभोक्ता नै सचेत हुनु पर्यो
सामान किन्दा बजारमा आफ्नै झोला लिएर जानु पर्यो
उत्पादनै बन्द गर्नुपर्छ
सबै तीनै सरकार मिलेर यो सबैले यसको नियन्त्रण गर्नुपर्छ
त्यसको साटोमा कागजको ब्यागहरु अनि यस्तो कपडाको ब्यागहरु लाग्नु पर्यो
त्यो पातलो झोला प्रयोग गरे बापत यति जरिवाना भनेर एउटा खालको निश्चित क्राइटेरिया बनाउनु पर्छ
हामी सबैले बजारमा जाँदाखेरि आफ्नै कपडाको झोला बोकेर गयौं भने त्यो हामीले प्लास्टिकका झोलाहरू किन्न पर्दैन र वातावरण प्रदूषण हुँदैन
Time now for our segment, Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Before that, let's take a look at the result from yesterday's poll. Yesterday, we had asked, what's your take on the business persons increasing the price of rice in the pretext of India's decision to stop rice export? 50% voted for A, high-handedness of business persons, 22% for B, lack of monitoring, and 28% for C, result of dependency on imports. And here's today's question. Why do you think the dispute between government and construction businesses have increased? The options are A, businesses slacking off, B, government's failure to release payments, and C, dispute is just a show. Voting is on. Type any WS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us.
Sports news.
Former Italy goalkeeper and World Cup winner Gianluigi Buffon has retired from football aged 45. He took to social media to thank his supporters. Buffon brings an end to a 28-year career that saw him lift the World Cup in 2006, along with 10 Serie A titles with Juventus and Ligue 1 with Paris Saint-Germain. He ends his career where it began in 1995 at Parma, now a Serie B club. Buffon, who had a deal with Parma until 2024, made 19 appearances last season as he struggled with injuries. He began his career at Parma's academy and made his Serie A debut for the club in November 1995 before joining Juventus in 2001, where he spent most of his career despite a stint at PSG in 2018-19. He made a record 657 appearances in the Italian top flight and is the most capped goalkeeper of all time with 176 appearances for Italy. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Good night.